Hello everyone, welcome back to Pro Tour Nagoya. Well, as you know, it's block constructed, and on the wall behind me, you can see some of the cards starting to appear that, well, we might see in action this weekend. There's a lot of them, and we're barely getting started. You can kind of see on the table in front of me, Brian, you've kind of brought pretty much half the format to the table. I know you've been walking the tables, talking to the pros. Take us away. Talk to me about block.
Well, one of the big limitations on this block constructed format is there are not a lot of dual lands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, normally we've seen a lot of, formats where we've had dual lands and border posts and something else, or, really what we got here, we've had the same five that we've had to work with since MIrrodin.
Yeah.
So it's really challenging to build a 5-color control deck that we may have seen in past formats.
Now these are good though, aren't they?
Oh, they're very good,
yeah.
And they'll see play in the appropriate decks, but they really are sort of a barrier as to what kind of colors you can play with, and it becomes very challenging to get 3 colors in a deck.
Okay, let's move up. Talking of 3 colors in a deck, next you've kind of got this huge great pile of green and white and blue.
Emissary is one of the few other mana fixtures that you're going to see in the format, and it's been paired with all sorts of stuff. We see happens to be maybe a format on a plane set in MIrrodin. Perhaps a Verdant Corruptor is a good card, a card we may see played a couple times this weekend
because it destroys an artifact.
Perhaps some corrosion will be creeped.
Will be creeped? I
don't know.
Is that how it works?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Creeping corrosion's another card.
Sure.
But so we've seen like a sort of a Bant colored assortment. This Consecrated Sphinx is clearly one of the pillars of the format.
Why?
This number right here.
The 6.
The 6.
Okay. Why is that so important?
Because your removal sort of tops out at 5. Yes, you can see right here it clearly has a throat, but that's not a card that a lot of people are playing. This is an artifact block. It's difficult to go for the throat, so you really want to have cards like Dismember and Artillerize, which deal 5 damage.
Okay, yeah, -5/-5 for the Dismember.
And then even if you play this, and if your opponent does not kill it instantly, so maybe they get to go Sunblast Angel, kill it after you attack with it somehow or something, you've still drawn 2, 4, 6 cards off of their card draw. Yeah. So this card's fantastic. I know you love this card.
I love Beast Within. Apart from anything else, I love the fact that you can kill your own basic land with it. When you've got too many, you just go, I'll have a 3/3. Thank you so much.
I would rather give my opponent a 3/3 and kill their Tempered Steel.
That is also quite a good plan.
Kill their Lash Ride, kill their Planeswalker, kill their land.
Kill their anything.
Kill their anything. This card is fantastic.
All right. Let's head on up to the top corner, and I guess, well, there is Go for the Throat that we've been talking about, and now, I guess you're talking about, what, Mono Black Infect here? Is that
we've definitely heard a lot of rumors of, Inkmoth Nexus is another pillar card of the format. We're going to see people playing this in decks that have no other means of infecting their opponent, but, certainly Skithiryx, Phyrexian Crusader, protection from red and from white could be a big deal this weekend.
Tempered Steel decks, they're white, well, Artifact and white, and then that also, you think the protection from red's a big deal as well.
Absolutely. I know. Red is always going to be anytime you're in a block constructed format, there's going to be a lot of, great removal in red, a lot of burn. People are always going to want to play a deck like that. Okay,
you've got a couple of cards over here just sort of sitting around on their own. What's Tumble Magnet and Tezzeret about?
Tumble Magnet and Tezzeret, they kind of hang out together a lot. But Tezzeret's a big question mark for a lot of people.
Right.
People want this deck to be terrific. Tezzeret is clearly an incredibly powerful Planeswalker, capable of doing great things, but in the sort of small pool of block constructed, it's maybe not as good as we've seen it in bigger formats.
Okay.
So what people are telling me and they're playtesting a lot of times is they're playing their Tezzeret, they make something into an artifact, they make an artifact into a creature, they attack for 5 and their opponent kills it, Verdant Corruptors it, dismembers it, Divine Offerings it, and then attacks and kills Tezzeret with an attack. This is going to be an interesting card to see if anyone gets it to work.
And if they do, then it's going to be super powerful and a real format, possibly definer even.
Right.
Where do you want to go next?
Well, you want to talk about powerful cards that people are, really talking a lot about is Birthing Pod. It's an artifact, so it has this very natural drawback. if it was an enchantment instead of an artifact, it would be much more
super
potent,
hot.
because enchantment removal is actually surprisingly rare in this format.
Yeah. As you discover when someone plays True Conviction in a draft, and you just go, yeah.
Yeah, Sea Beast within.
Yeah, indeed.
Birthing Pod is fascinating. It lets you do all sorts of crazy things. A card that we've seen it being paired with a lot is Glissa the Traitor.
Okay, so I know there are some tricks you can do here. Give me an example.
I can sack my Viridian Corruptor, go get a Sylvok Replica or a Viridian Corruptor, right? I go from 2 to 3. Basically, every time you sacrifice a creature with Birthing Pod, you get to search one up.
It goes up the chain.
The cost chain. So I can get a land and then get this thing which destroys an artifact, or this thing which destroys an artifact. I can then sacrifice this to Birthing Pod, go get a Skin Render, kill your creature, and then if I have Glissa in play down here, well, Glissa says when a creature dies, when one of your opponent's creatures dies, get an artifact back. Well, I just happen to have the Sylvok Replica I just sacrificed in my graveyard, so now I get it back, I can play it. I still have a Birthing Pod in play. I can go get another Skin Render, or, you know what I can do? Is I can go get a Phyrexian Metamorph.
Okay, why is that going to be so outstanding?
Well, Phyrexian Metamorph is really exciting because it's just going to be the best artifact or creature on the graveyard. It costs 4, so if I sack a 3, I get to go get it. What if my opponent's playing Glissa and I don't have my Glissa online yet?
Okay.
Well, I could just play Phyrexian Metamorph. This is really exciting play. You have Glissa, I have 3 mana, I pay 2 life, I tap, I play Phyrexian Metamorph, I copy your Glissa, they both legend each other.
Oh yeah, because it's legendary.
Right, it's legendary. They both go to the graveyard, your Glissa goes to the graveyard, my Metamorph goes to the graveyard, boom. Now you have a trigger. You can go get an artifact back.
Yeah.
You know. Now I have a trigger. I can get an artifact back. I go get my Phyrexian Metamorph back.
Oh, that's savage.
So it's like slaughter with buyback against Glissa.
Slaughter with buyback. Put your hands in the air if you actually remember Slaughter with buyback.
You know, other cards. You know, you can get all sorts of stuff going on. Entomber Exarch. So I can get back the creature I just sacrificed. Rinse and repeat. I can just sort of chain my Skin Renders infinitely.
The whole thing is.
I don't know if anyone will do this. Gremlin Mine, and this is a great combo. Glissa, Gremlin Mine, just kill your guy, get something back.
Yep.
To me, this is one of the exciting Birthing Pod plays. I, sacrifice my Wormcoil Engine. I get a 3/3 and a 3/3, or a 5/5 and a 5/5.
As it. Oh, hello.
And I wipe out your team of small, Mir tokens.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty awesome.
This deck has tremendous potential.
What about this? You've got a bunch of artifacts and 1 white card here in this pile.
Boom.
Okay.
This is a card I'm super excited about as well.
Pure Steel Paladin. What does it do?
So every time you play an equipment, or every time an equipment even comes into play, and under your control, you get to draw a card.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it's terrific.
There's more though.
And then if you have Metalcraft, you can equip. You can basically equip equipment for free.
Equip equipment for free.
So what happens is, you've got maybe a quarter shield or a flare husk, and you've drawn, then you play like a Sword of War Piece. Again, protection from red and white. Very, very big words.
Yep.
Play this on turn 3. I have 2 other artifacts. I equip this. I attack. I'm attacking with an equipped Pure Steel Paladin on turn 3. I talked to a couple of Magic players. Do you know how much damage this does when you attack on turn 3 with it? 1,000.
Really?
1,000 damages on turn 3.
Wow.
Yes. I got this from the experts.
That's quite exciting. Are they going to win the Proto?
I don't know.
I think there's a math problem there, to be honest. Just in case you're wondering, I know that some of you at home will currently be looking at the wording on Sword of War and Peace and Pure Steel Paladin and working out how to get to 1,000. We'll tell you on Sunday. So, we've got 2 big piles left. Where do you want to go?
Well, let's talk about Yokohama.
Okay. Yokohama 2007. This is the event of the White Weenie. Magic Online had White Weenie decks coming out of its ears in the 2 weeks before Yokohama.
I was saying, please say ears.
Yeah. And then you got to the Pro Tour. Antti Malin from Finland, 2008 World Champion, the highest placed White Weenie finisher that weekend in 50th place. White Weenie got butchered.
People were main decking Sulfur Elementals. And people just didn't want to be that deck because they felt like everyone was gunning for them. That deck is Tempered Steel this weekend.
All your artifacts get +2/+2.
right? And so those artifacts can be any number of things, right? They don't even have to be white, right? You could be playing Spinethopters and Vault Scourges. You could be playing Porcelain Legionnaires. You could be making creatures with your Shrine of Loyal Legions. You can have the, I think this was just a movie, the backup plan with Hero of Bladehold. It's not artifact creatures, but it's just, I'm making more guys.
They got removal in that deck?
You got sort of the Hawkward stuff that we've seen. This and this. I've seen people playing Piston Sledge, just sort of like Tempered Steel 5 and 6. You've got, all sorts of removal packages. You've got Divine Offering. You've got Lean and Relic Water. You have a card that I think is absolutely terrific. Assuming you have Metalcraft, which again, not very hard to do with this deck. Dispatch is like better than Swords to Plowshares.
Stop. Hammer time. It's time for Koth of the Hammer. One of the best Magic jokes ever. One of the best cards in the block. This is super interesting, and it's going to go in the mono red decks.
And what do you want in the mono red deck? You have Koth of the Hammer. You have Red Sun Zenith. We have Hero of Bladehold. Hero of Oxid Ridge. Hero of Oxid Ridge could have changed the tide of the Pro Tour had it been drawn. Paul Rietzel had drawn this card at Pro Tour Paris. You have big cards like Kuldotha Phoenix. You have very exciting red decks. One of the problems with them is that they run out of steam, right? Like burn you,
Where's
burn
the
you,
card
draw a card. Well, now you have, the Wellsprings, both Ichor and Mycosynth. And you also have this brand new card that lets you sacrifice those. Yeah. And then you have this brand old card, which also lets you sacrifice those.
Now, wasn't Kuldotha red a deck at some point?
It was a deck, and sometimes you're not really trying to attack. Like the Kuldotha red deck was a very aggressive deck. Sometimes you just want 3 guys to protect your Koth.
Yep.
You just want to set some cannon fodder out there. You've got Slagstorm, you've got Artillerize, you've got Scrap Melter, you've got great removal. Well, perhaps some savvy players who are anticipating the mirror might have that guy. You have Galvanic Blast, another great artifact to sacrifice. And then you also have, this is a super exciting card. The game gets grinding down.
Tick,
kind of gets
tick,
and it just
tick,
sits there.
Tick, boom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's coming. It's coming.
As you can tell, he's quite excited about the block constructed format, and to be honest, so am I. We can't wait to have you with us all weekend long. Remember, 5 rounds of block constructed on day 1, then it's to draft, 3 drafts Saturday, 5 more down the stretch, then it's draft on Sunday.
And as many deck techs as we can cram in from now till then.
Get it done, can't wait. Where's my Koth? Where's my Koth? I want it. Okay, we'll see you very, very soon on Tournament Center. See you later, bye.